If you're looking for a credit card that's going to help you build or rebuild your credit, I think Cred.Ai might be the perfect card for you. You can have the lowest credit score possible or no credit score at all, and you're still going to get approved for this card. In addition to that, there's going to be no hard inquiry put on your credit report, and it's going to report to all 3 bureaus. Plus, it's pretty much the only beginner credit card out there that's going to give you a really cool metal credit card. So in this video, I'm going to break down everything that you need to know about this card, from how to maximize the hidden benefits, all the way to the sneaky things that you got to keep your mind on. But first, make sure you like this video so other people trying to rebuild their credit can see this video. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about this card. First of all, there's really only 2 options when you're trying to rebuild your credit. You can either get a secured card or get a card like this that's meant for building credit. But here's a lot of people's problems with the secure card. You're going to have to give a bank money first in order to get that card. Whatever you give the bank as a security deposit, they're going to match that with a credit limit. So let's say I wanted to get a secured credit card. I would give a bank $500, and in return they'd give me a credit card with a $500 limit. And eventually, usually about a year, they're going to give you the money back. But the problem with a lot of people that have a bad credit score and need to rebuild their credit is that they're very low on money. And $500 for a credit card, even though that you're going to get that money back, is a lot of money to them. And even though that you need to rebuild your credit to get a better apartment, to finance a car that actually works, that $500 that you're putting towards a secured credit card can make the difference between making rent or not. And that's the great thing about this credit card, is you don't have to put any money in it to get it. So let's talk about how you actually get this card. And like I said earlier, you don't have to have any credit score at all. If your credit score is horrible, then that's fine. And if you have super low income, that's not going to matter either. I actually went through the application process myself. I didn't submit it because I didn't actually want to get this card, but it's really easy. You give them the basic details about yourself, and they walk you through the process and make it really easy for you. And a great thing about this card, and why I think it's so good for beginners, is because you're not going to have to ever pay any fees or interest. And they pretty much make it impossible to ruin your credit score with this card. So the way that this card works is you're going to deposit money into that spend account from another bank, and then you can use that card like a debit card, but those transactions are going to report to the bureaus as credit transactions. So you're going to be building up your score. And this isn't one of those sketchy credit building cards like Tomo's card, because it's backed by Wilmington Savings Fund Society, which is a really reputable bank, and all your deposits are going to be FDIC insured. If you're using this card like it's designed to be used, you're going to connect your bank account with Plaid and then transfer funds into a deposit account. You're only going to be able to spend what's in that deposit account. And one of my favorite things about this card is it doesn't matter how much money you put in that spending account, it's going to report to all those 3 bureaus that you have a $1,500 credit limit. And the reason that that matters is because if you eventually want to graduate to another credit card that's going to give you rewards, then they're going to see that you already have a decent credit limit and probably be able to trust you with an even higher credit limit than if you had another credit card with, say, a $500 limit. So just to recap, this is technically a credit card, and it's going to report to all 3 credit bureaus, building your credit history, which is the point of this card, but it's going to work a lot more like a prepaid debit card. All right, now let me walk you through every single benefit that you're going to be getting when you have this card and how to use them all. So if you go to your website, you're going to see some really interesting things. In my opinion, they're doing a little bit too much. They're trying to appeal to a lot of younger people. And when I look at their website, I honestly just laugh. You can tell that it was made by a lot older people that are trying to appeal to Generation Z. And honestly, I think they're just trying a little bit too hard. When you go to their website, the first thing that you're going to see is a picture that says, "We make super cards," with an AI generated picture of people holding up their cards. And imagine if Tony Stark built a bank. And you can just tell an older person made this because they say things like, "Your new metal card is so fired up," which is obviously what a millennial would think someone from Gen Z would say, but I don't know. It's just funny reading it. All right, enough talking about their website. Let's look at the actual benefits. And they have 6 main ones. And when you're looking at these 6 features, they might seem a little bit confusing because they try to use fancy words that sound high tech, like flux capacitor, but really these are kind of just basic features with a twist on it. So the first feature that you're going to get is called Check Please. And what this is aimed to do is eliminate the embarrassment of having your card declined at a restaurant. So the way that this is going to work is you can put in an estimated amount of how much your transaction is going to be, and then it's going to let you know if it's going to get approved or not. And if you have a deposit on the way, but it's not quite in your spend account yet, it's not going to decline. It's just going to give you that money, and then when your deposit comes in, then it will take from that deposit. So this isn't a huge feature, but it might save you a couple times if you have money on the way and your card's going to decline. The next feature is called Friends or Foe. With this, you can mark merchants as your friends or your foes, and what that's going to do is pretty much blacklist whatever merchants you choose, and whenever they try to charge your card, it's just not going to go through. They then have Cred Optimizer, which will automatically report your credit card usage to the bureaus to give you the maximum credit score. And that one right there I think is pretty cool, and that can give you a little bit of a boost in your credit score. They then have a feature called Repeat Defender, and this is going to work a lot like Rocket Money, if you know what that is. What this is going to do is tell you all the future recurring charges and subscriptions that are going to be on your account and tell you when they're going to hit. So if you have a Disney Plus or an ESPN subscription, it's going to tell you that that's going to hit in about 5 or 6 days, so that you're aware that that money is going to come out, or that you can go and cancel that if you want. They have something called Flux Capacitor, and all this is going to do is allow you to get your paycheck 2 days early, which a lot of different banks and credit unions already do. They just gave it a fancy name for no reason. And then then the last one, which is going to get a lot of use for some people, is called Stealth Card. And what this is going to do is give you a one-time virtual card number that you can use at sketchy places. So let's say you want to buy something from a sketchy website that you've never bought before, or if you make YouTube videos like me and you want to pay an editor or a thumbnail guy, but you've never worked with them before and you want to make sure that they're not going to take all your money, you can make a stealth card and then load onto that whatever amount of money you need to pay. And then after that payment, that card's going to self-destruct. So if that person is a scammer, they're not going to be able to go in, get your credit card information, and pull even more money out. But let's be honest, I think we all know what sketchy websites most people are going to be using the stealth card at. So essentially what this card aims to do is idiot-proof building credit. Because there's no credit limit to max out, you can't get any late payments because it's all just coming out of a deposit account, and you're choosing how much money goes into that spend account. So at its core, this is just a debit card that's meant to keep you out of trouble while also building up your credit history. And I think that's a great thing because a lot of people getting this card aren't gonna have good credit scores. And if you had a bad credit score, that means that you've misused your credit in the past. So this card is pretty much gonna work as training wheels, not letting you spend any money that you don't have. And it's very important to be honest with yourself, especially when it comes to finances. I know for me, I have a huge sweet tooth, but I still have to stay somewhat consistent with a healthy diet. And a big part of staying healthy for me is just not putting myself in those situations to be able to eat really bad food. So I'm not going to walk into candy stores. I'm not going to go into McDonald's. I'm not going to walk into places where if I know I go into, I'm going to end up eating a lot of unhealthy food. And I think the same thinking applies to this credit card. And if you know that in the past you've gotten credit cards and then you've maxed them out, you've missed payments, you've had to pay a bunch of money in interest, then I think this can be a great card for you because it's not going to let you spend more than you have and it's going to build up those good habits. Let's talk about the first reason that people really like this card, and that's the design of the card itself. Like I said at the beginning of the video, there's pretty much no other credit card that'll give you this cool of a design. I mean, who doesn't want a solid metal credit card that has a silver unicorn on it? I mean, maybe you don't, but I think that'd be cool. Also, this card comes in really cool packaging too. I think they took a page out of Built MasterCard's packaging because it looks really similar, but this is just another thing with this card that's going to get people excited about building up their credit score. You know, because they're getting that cool card, it's in cool packaging, there's some cool features that come with it, a nice website, a nice app. So yeah, I think this is a great card. But like all credit cards, there's going to be a couple cons that you should know about. The first con is that you're not going to be earning any cash back or rewards when you're using this credit card. Because if you can afford to get a secure credit card, there's a lot of ones out there that'll give you 4 or 5% cash back for really high spending categories. But if you're getting this Cred.Ai card, it's most likely to put on those training wheels before you can get a non-secured credit card and start earning rewards with that one. Another con is there's no welcome offer with this credit card. With a lot of other credit cards, you're going to get $100 to $200 as a way of the bank saying thank you for signing up for a card. Another thing that could be a big con for some people is there's no web account access, so you can't access this from your computer. You have to download their app. So this card will make a lot of sense for 3 people in my opinion. The first is someone that's brand new to credit and very young. This is probably going to be their first credit card. They probably just turned 18, and this is just a fun card. It has a cool design and it's going to help them build credit. The second person is someone that needs to rebuild their credit but knows that they can't trust themselves with a credit card, so they want to get this card from stopping them from burying themselves in debt. And then the third person is someone that needs to build or rebuild credit but they don't want or they can't afford to pay the money to get a secured card. But if you do want to get a secure credit card that's going to give you rewards, go check out my breakdown on US Bank's Cash Plus card.